What is up, Buckeye Nation? It's been a minute. We apologize. We are three busy guys outside of the podcast, but here we are once again. Two of the co-founders of the Scarlet N Great Empire, Ohio State football, right here on YouTube with Scarlet N Great. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm here with my good friend, my co-host, the co-founder, Sugar Shane, the Empire. How you doing, Shane?
I am great, Corey. I'm just trying to adjust, man. We welcomed a third one into our family, a third child. So we've got three kids, ages 5 and under now, and trying to adjust to
how many
zone
kids?
Three kids under the age of 5. We got a 5-year-old.
Any more getting planned, or is that down the road?
We're not sure yet on that one because right now we're adapting to a zone defense. We're trying to figure out the zone, and we'll see how that goes before I decide my final steps. You know what I mean?
I have so many immature jokes I could make right now. I'm just gonna let it go. Let it roll off my back. My inner 13-year-old is winning the battle.
I love it.
Anyways, man, congratulations, my good friend. Great family, man. Great family. One of the best people I know, Shane. Couldn't be happy for you, but couldn't happen to a better person. So
appreciate you, man.
And that kid's lucky to have you as a dad. So all love to you.
I love you, man.
Me too, brother. But we're here to talk Buckeye football as usual, because hey, we need a break from reality for a minute.
Absolutely.
So we want to talk a little bit about. I mean, we're late to the game on Luke Montgomery committing to Ohio State. Obviously, Ohio kid, played defensive line, offensive line, very highly rated. I think number 1 rated player in Ohio for 2023. Going to be recruited as a tackle, of course. And, well, I mean, he was maybe a guard, but I guess Justin Frye is kind of convincing the coach staff he has the footwork to play tackle. But anyway, there's another aspect of this we want to discuss. We don't want to go over the bio and everything like that. You guys know who Luke Montgomery is by now. It's been like a week or so since he committed. There's an interesting aspect of this, though, because Luke Montgomery automatically becomes the highest rated recruit in Justin Frye's coaching history. Automatically, just right out the gate, man. Right out the gate.
Wow.
His first actual commit. I mean, I still consider DeJuan Jones coming back kind of a recruiting victory for him.
Yeah.
But in the actual recruiting world, Luke Montgomery is the very first one for Justin Frye. You can say, well, Ohio State's been working on him. He's an Ohio kid. Well, there's a different story to that. I mean, if you check out Bermanology, and I'll give Jeremy Birmingham all the credit for this because he does a great job. Check out Bermanology. Luke Montgomery said to Jeremy Birmingham, I was going to wait a few more months after Coach Stud got released to make up a decision. He was close to the guys up north, team up north. He actually liked the coaches up there. Clemson was another one that was creeping in. And he said he met Justin Frye, and he said he blew him away. I had to be coached by this guy. I had to go to Ohio State. Didn't we say, Shane? I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, but I'm gonna let you get in on this. Didn't we say, Shane, that once Justin put the block O on, for those who were concerned about his recruiting, could relax a little bit?
Yes, we talked about this just a few weeks ago, and there were so many skeptics, getting him over here, Corey. We talked about how, I mean, a lot of the fan base were skeptical of how he could recruit, but he specifically mentioned it, and the other coaches have talked about it too. As soon as you walk in, you got the block O, like there's a different aura, right? There's a different energy around you, and we had a feeling like his personality, his coaching style mixed with the block O branding was going to be a huge hit. And this is, now you're seeing it, and it's pretty fast. If you think about it, relatively speaking, that's a really fast victory because he has yet to coach a game at Ohio State. He's a month in as far as being on the staff, and all of a sudden, boom, you land a big time recruit like this. And like you said, we've got some other victories that we've seen, little mini victories, but this is a true recruiting victory. The marketing has something to do with it. You look at it from a business perspective, you might have the best product out there in the world or whatever, but you got to be able to market it. And sometimes the brand sells itself, right? We always say that brand sells itself. Well, that's the case at Ohio State. And it looks like Justin Frye is going to be able to benefit from that. And I think the mixture of having his ability to coach and make these athletes elevate their game mixed with the types of recruits he's going to be getting. Oh my gosh, dude, we should be excited with this one victory. This is where momentum starts, the snowball effect. It starts to build. Don't be surprised if we get some bigger ones coming in down the line.
Yeah, and what does it do? I mean, he's a confident guy anyway, Justin is. But, I mean, Luke was not a sure thing, even though he's an Ohio kid. He was not a sure thing. In fact, many believe he was kind of trending away from us. And Luke made it clear he liked Coach Stud. But, I mean, what you say for the cameras, who knows, if it's true or not. The kid's a respectful kid, right?
Well, yeah, but answer me this, Corey, right? Like, let's think about it from that's true because he wasn't a sure thing into Ohio State. So some people would say, well, he would have gone there anyways. Who wants to come into a fractured environment? Think of that
Mm-hmm.
another business analogy, right? You go into a company, you don't want to go into a company that's fractured, unfortunately, I feel like there were a lot of athletes out there who felt that way about Ohio State. We as fans felt that way. There was some fractures within the locker room with the personnel and the leadership and everything, and so they needed to make something more stable, which we'll get to in a second, but he wasn't for sure. And a lot of people were not. Like, there's a lot of now bringing in a name like this and getting a little bit of stability. That win is huge because nobody wants to just come into a fractured environment. They want to come into a stable environment.
Yeah, exactly. And again, when Justin Frye comes in and gets hired, he's one of the better names in college football as far as O-line coaching is concerned. He's a young guy at 38. He can relate to young kids, obviously. Played the game at Indiana. He obviously knows what these kids are going through. He's been on that the other end of the recruiting. So he obviously knows how to talk to kids and how to be respectful of what they want and need and what they desire at the next level. But at the again, he's going to be here for a while, right? Stud was rumored every year to possibly be gone. I mean, it was getting a little bit like, okay, is it this year? Is this the year? And then finally, this was the year it happened, and we replaced him with a guy who is on the ascension in his coaching career, and it's got to be exciting for a guy like Luke to go and play for. But I think it's like this. It's like I don't think we're going to struggle to. I mean, we were struggling like for top Ohio offensive lineman at times. It felt like, gosh, why are we in a friggin' battle for this kid? This kid should be all up in the blocko. I think Justin Frye brings an extra element to it to say, look, this is a young up and coming offensive line coach who's done a great job and put guys in the NFL who were not considered highly touted, heralded kids coming out of high school. So what can he do with a guy like Luke Montgomery, who's almost a 5-star? And considered one of the better players in the country, the top 75 player, if I recall correctly. So, again, for those who were worried about his recruiting, he just showed you why you don't have to worry, because that brand combined with his confidence level, combined with his personality and his understanding of what recruiting wants and needs and what they need to hear, what they want to hear, it's going to sell itself. It's going to be no problem. Ohio State will be able to recruit. We're not going to have that issue.
Not at all. And you just wait. Give us another season, too. Let them get their footing. Let them win some games. Let them compete for a national championship. And then, just watch the floodgates open. It's going to be
If this year our run game is corrected and CJ has time to throw the ball and we're competing for national titles, Justin Frye's going to be walking in any high school he wants in the country.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So, but you know what? You mentioned stability, and this is Justin Frye's helping stabilize the offensive line room. Not that it was horribly off tilt, I mean, I'm not going to crap on Stud all the whole show. I mean, he actually, for what it's worth, did a pretty good job overall, I think. It just kind of started to slip a little bit, and I think people recognize that. But again, it isn't like he left the room with no talent type of thing. I mean, Ed Warner left Stud with like a barren room, it felt like, and then Stud had to fix the depth, and Urban Meyer decried it every year. It's like our depth on the offensive line is terrible. You could say our depth right now is pretty good. In fact, but the only problem is the offensive tackle position going forward is a little iffy. So we'll see what Justin. But if Luke Montgomery can be in that tackle position, then he can solve that issue right away. But that being said, stability. Our coaching staff is in place.
Yes.
And we're seeing that come to fruition with different visits that are coming up. We'll get to that in a second. But there's a guy, we'll talk about other aspects of the coaching staff that are new, like Tim Walton and Perry Eliano. And there's a guy that decommitted from Georgia named Kayin Lee. And I hope I'm saying his name right. I don't mean to butcher it. I apologize if I am. Corner from Georgia, who decommitted from Georgia. And because the Georgia DB coach went to Miami, so that has an impact on what Georgia's recruiting. But we are finally stable at the corner position with a guy in Tim Walton, who is well proven, obviously, over the years, especially in the NFL, at the NFL level. Again, just go to Kayin's home and say, hey, look what Jalen Ramsey has to say about me. He just won a Super Bowl. Didn't play very great in the Super Bowl, but he still won one. And then, Perry Eliano's, I was on the one of the top 10 defenses in the country last year, went to the playoff as a group of 5, and all my corners are going to the NFL. So, and one of them won the Jim Thorpe Award. So you have 2 all-star recruiters coming in and talking to this kid. And now it was thought that Cam was a guy who Ohio State was second for, right? And that was with Combs and the defense being suspicious. Now bring in all the stability of Jim Knowles, Tim Walton, Perry Eliano, and all bets are off with kids like this, and we can go into Georgia and snake one out of there. Pretty mediocre, or I don't say mediocre, but mediocre. I'm sorry about that. Mid 4-star kid at 94 rating, solid player, 5'11", 160, still growing, 2023 class. We need to rebuild that DB room and put some serious depth in there. Not to say the guys there are bad now, but what do you expect now that we have stabilized, Shane, that situation?
Yeah, I think it speaks for itself. Like, there's stability there. You mentioned it about Justin Frye too. Like, there's this sense that a lot of these guys are going to be there for the long term. Now, we will have a few coaches that are probably going to, I don't know what Perry Eliano is going to do. I mean, this is going to be one of those things for him. We talked about it before. A demotion and title, probably a pay raise and a better opportunity for him. But I wonder, if he's going to be looking for a DC position or something of the sort in the future. But you can pretty much count on Knowles being there. You can count on Walton being there. Like, you can count on most of these guys being there, which is a huge piece. A lot of these college guys in football specifically, where your body takes such a toll, if you're playing at the Division I level in a Power 5 conference, you don't have a lot of years on the clock, especially if you want to play in the NFL. Now, you can go to the JUCO route and you can go all these, you get a couple Cooper Cups like in there every once in a while, but you want to be able to get in and play. So you're looking for stability in your coaching staff. When you go to a place that's going to be a Power 5 conference and competing, but your guys are like out the door, that can ruin your entire career. It really can. And nobody wants to do that. And what's good for us at Ohio State is, like, you're seeing the Georgias, guys are leaving. Oklahoma just had a blow up, you know what I mean, with everybody.
Clemson
right now,
coaching staff. Yep.
Clemson, exactly. Like, you're starting to see some of that. We're on the, and they could argue like, well, it's for the better. We're getting stability here too, But I truly feel that way. I might be a little biased that Ohio State is stable. I think that we've got what we want there. We've got exactly what we need. So that's going to be the eye candy for these players. I think guys like Kayin Lee are going to look at that, and I hope we could land somebody like that, because to get the depth, you do need stability to bring in these players, because the coaches sell it, but the players follow other players. And if you're a good leader on the field and other players know about you, they're going to follow suit. And that's where your depth comes in, because players will hear about it, and they all talk to each other. There's social media apps, everything. When you go to a visit and you visit this coaching staff and you build trust in this coaching staff, which I feel that these guys are great people, coaches. Like, they're the players' coaches. They know how to talk to these kids. When they go there, those kids are going to be tweeting that out. Those kids are going to be talking about that, and other kids will follow suit. I think it's going to be fantastic for our depth, Corey.
Absolutely. And as far as recruiting goes, it seemed like there was quite a lull for Ohio State, and we're still not getting a bunch of booms or anything like that. But I thought, like, we were a little bit – this is part of why Ryan Day solved the issue quickly, right, with the coaching staff. He's just like, we got to get this done quick. I mean, like, it was pretty quick they had Jim Knowles in place. It was a few days after the Rose Bowl, it felt like. And then, of course, the staff started rolling in and everybody like that. And then he kept adding assistants and grad assistants and whatever, other kinds of assistants, analysts and things like that. And really big-name analysts like Matt Guerriere, who was a defensive coordinator for Duke. Now he's an analyst for Ohio State's defense who understands Jim Knowles' defense. I mean, he really Ryan Day had a plan in place, and he executed it quickly, because he had to get the ball rolling for 2023 class, because it's been lagging a little bit for Ohio State, but now it's starting to pick up some steam. Basically, I'm trying to find that on my list. And guys like Allen, I'm sorry, I cannot, a 4-star offensive lineman, Allen, I don't know how to say his name.
I don't know it either. Correct us here.
Allen, yeah, just comment. Tell me how idiotic I am by correcting me on this. Defensive end AJ Hoeffler out of Georgia, 4-star. Darren Reed, defensive lineman, 4-star. Cedric Hawkins, safety. Wide receiver Chris Culliver. Wide receiver Bryson Rogers. Tackett Curtis, a linebacker. 4- and 3-star guys. 1 3-star guy, mostly 4-star guys. They're all coming in for visits, it looks like. There's a 5-star wide receiver. His name is escaping me at the moment, but coming in. Jalen Hale is coming in. It's like, well, I mean, let's be real. If anybody worries about wide receiver recruiting at Ohio State, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But but I mean, again, it's starting to come in. Like, okay, we're finally getting our footing, right? After so much instability with the coaching staff after the Rose Bowl, it's like, what's Ohio State going to do? They're not going to, certainly not going to keep everybody after. I hate to say disappointing year. It kind of is for Ohio State standard because we have that standard to win the Big Ten and go on to the playoff and challenge for the title. We didn't do that this year, so our head's got to roll, right? So that's just the nature of the beast at Ohio State. It just is what it is. So
Yeah.
Now we've stabilized everything. Visits are coming in. I mean, apparently Watson and Eliano are talking to that guy Kayin Lee every day. Apparently trying to work on him. They're also rebuilding the relationship with AJ Harris, who got a crystal ball to Georgia, but we'll see. I don't know how when the Georgia DB coach just left. So we'll see what happens there. But again, it's like, okay, finally. We're on stable footing. Now we can move forward and be Ohio State.
Absolutely, brother. I'm excited, man. We should all be excited about what we have. That's what we should. I mean, as Ohio State fans, I know we should say that. It sounds so stupid, but like we should be excited and confident in what we've put together. That's all I got to say.
Well, I mean, confidence is huge because as a fan, we weren't that confident the last couple of years the way the defense played. We're like, man, we actually wonder, like, why would a kid come to Ohio State defensively and play in this defense? I mean, it baffled me when like a top linebacker would commit to Ohio State. I'm like, okay, I guess it ain't like we're developing monsters back there. I mean, I give Kerry Combs really a lot of credit. For the short time he's here, he helped start to rebuild that defense, that back room, because I think Jordan Hancock, Jalen Johnson are extremely talented. Johnson Dunn's extremely talented. Obviously, Denzel Burke is a star in the making. So I mean, we got talent there, but I mean, it's again, I was always wondering like why. It's like
totally,
especially in 2020 when our secondary was so freaking bad.
Yeah.
So I didn't get it at all. But again, I am confident going forward with the new staff we have in place that we're going to be able to get the guys we need to get. And I'm also confident the development's going to take place because Jim Knowles is known for that, developing guys who are not as heralded at high school as other guys. But I agree with you. It's exciting to going forward. It's exciting to see things starting to fall in place finally because it was a lot. We were like in limbo for 2 years, it felt like.
Totally.
Now we can move forward. But speaking of moving forward, looks like I want to switch to sport real quick. It looks like the Michigan's coach, the team up north coach in basketball, moved forward when he smacked somebody in the face.
Yeah.
So, I know we're going out left field on this one. I apologize, guys, but that wasn't the best segue I've ever done. But I just had a comment on this because it's been dominating the news lately. Shane, look, you're a basketball player. You do rec ball, you do leagues, and you're a sportsman. You've been coaching before. I mean, what's your reaction when you saw that video?
Man, the whole what a clown. Okay, that's all I got to say. What a clown. You gotta and you're at a prestigious university like that. Yes, I'll say prestigious. We'll just use that word.
They are. Fair, objectively speaking, they're prestigious.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I mean, you cannot be doing that. Like, give me a break. And I'm not trying to make this. I'm just going to be unfiltered here for a second. You want to play this game where, everybody used to hate on Michigan in the Fab Five because they were the street gang, like all the way that they dressed, the way
especially Jalen Rose, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they got this hate from the media, and so you try to change up the culture. But now, you bring him in and he's trying to change the culture, keep it a little bit you can give him a little swag, but at the same time, like, keep it classy. Well, that's not going to help your case if you're trying to like get out of that mindset of who these guys are. Comes in there. Here's the deal, Corey. Even as a coach myself, so I was coaching last year, and sure, we got into it. I was in a tournament down in Utah, but we were playing a team from Long Beach, California, and my guys are from Idaho. Just understand the demographic, and kids from Long Beach, California, completely different culture, completely different lifestyles, completely different backgrounds. Okay, I'm talking, you couldn't be any more different than they were, including the coaches and myself. And it got heated. The coaches were talking to me when the kids on my team made a play. They were talking to me instead of talking they were chirping, they were flashing gang signs, they were doing their thing, right? Mm-hmm. All to the point where like I had lost my mind. And you would think that I would react in a certain way, but you have to keep it. As a coach, you can't do that. You've got to set the example for your kids. So it just blows my mind that Juwan, like, just what are you doing? Like, you're in a college level setting, a very prestigious, and you're doing those types of things. on national television, he's a clown. He's a clown. That's a complete lack of professionalism. It's a complete, in my opinion, a very accurate representation of the university. And I know they're going to hate me for that, but I don't really care because it's an Ohio State channel and that's what we are. But what a clown! You cannot do that because now your players, see, that's what your university looks like. That's why you put the X through the M. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the funny part is, I actually didn't blame the players for how they reacted. They're defending their coach. Okay, yeah. I get it. Your family. I never looked at a kid like and said, oh well, he's a punk because he did. No, I get it. Your family. You feel like your family's being threatened, right or wrrong. You're going to jump in there, and I totally get that. What I thought was ridiculous is the fan base reaction, trying to say that Chris Gard from Wisconsin was also at fault. I'm like, that dude barely touched he lightly grabbed his elbow so he could talk to him. I'm sorry, that's a common. I don't know if it's just a Southern thing. Maybe you can help me out because you're in the Mountain West there. That's happened to me a few times. Like somebody tries to talk to me, they grab my elbow. Hey, hold on,
Dude, Corey, I shake people's head, and I saw that too. And people were like, why would you ever grab? I've never seen someone grab someone's elbow when you shake their hand. In fact, I was actually taught that way. So it is a thing because when I shake people's hands, I'll extend my arm to their elbow. It's a weird thing. I know people might think it's different, but that's a common thing in a lot of places. So to think, I know not everybody does it, but to think that it's a completely absurd idea to grab someone's elbow, to me, it looked just normal. So that's why I was one of those guys.
I didn't even get it. Why people are freaking out by that. It was
stupid. They're just finding any reason to defend the guy. Yeah, they're probably both frustrated with each other. A quick handshake would probably be the best thing. Maybe don't sit there and try to have a conversation. You don't need to have an explanation in that moment when the emotions are high, but it was not that big of a deal.
They've shown videos where those two got along great in past games. So my guess is Chris thought he could talk to his friend. Hey, look, this is why I did that. Okay. And for Juwan Howard, I'm sorry, this is the clown part of it, besides the hitting. To be upset about him calling a timeout when you're doing a full court press on backups. It's like, and by the way, you're more than welcome to do that. It's a competitive game. Do it however you coach, however you want, but don't get mad at. It's like, what do you want, a mercy rule or something, for crying out loud? Because he called timeout so he could run out the clock. That's why he did it. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but call timeout so you get that 10 seconds to get across the half court line so he can continue to run out the clock. It's just it's talk about clownish behavior. Sorry,
it's clownish, childish behavior. It's juvenile behavior. It's what it is, and it's like, and it's weird because I like him as I've always thought Howard was a good dude.
I root for Howard. I actually don't mind him at all, but this is ridiculous.
It was just like, I think we caught him at his worst. The media obviously caught him at his worst too, and we're here.
I don't even think he's a bad guy or anything. He just he's got anger issues, obviously, but I think his reasoning is illogical. It's just ridiculous.
It was a very emotional response, a very unprofessional response. I don't even know if he regrets it or not. I don't know if that's what he said or not. I haven't paid attention since the incident.
But I don't think he does, but if he said it, I doubt he means it.
It's clown behavior, man. Don't be a clown. You're setting a bad example for your entire. And if you want to talk about recruiting, let's come full circle. What I mean? When kids are looking at that, and parents are looking at where they want to take their kids to, you want to get out of that stereotypical mindset of who are these. The athletes are just a bunch of, hoodlums or street jocks, whatever they are. Don't be doing that. Don't have your coach be swinging on somebody. And also, let's do a little critique real quick. If you're going to swing. Don't do an open palm tap on the face. You know what I mean?
I think Tony Grudman said he's a dyslexic fighter because he balled his fist after he hit him. So,
boom. Exactly what happened.
Look,
dyslexic fighter. That's perfect. I didn't even hear that.
It was on Twitter. Tony's good. He's pretty good at that stuff. But no, that was the frustrating part to me. Is granted, everybody, it was just a slap, and then the same people who are saying it was just a little tap or a little slap are the ones also griping because Guard put his hand on his elbow. I'm like, you can't. You are insane.
Yeah, people are delusional, man. Delusional fans of the week, right? That's the segment. We'll just call it the entire fan base this week.
There's been a couple I'm going to give him credit. Swanky's out there, and my other buddy is out there. He just goes by Michigan something. I can't remember what it is, but
not important enough to remember.
Well, he doesn't have his name on there. I don't know what we want to do for it. I totally respect the fact that they just said no, it's wrong what he did. They didn't give excuses and things like that, and I appreciate that. There are some out there who are ready. But I've seen writers, don't put your hand on it, you won't find out. I'm like, excuse me, he didn't even hit the guy who touched him, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
So it's just, and Juwan Howard's like, what, 6'10", 250? I mean, and Chris Gard's like 5'9", 180 pounds, maybe. It's like, are you threatened by this little guy? I mean, I got to be honest with you, Shane. I'm 6'2", but right now I'm a little overweight because I gained some back, but I'm over 200 pounds, I'll put it that way. And I'm 6'2", over 200 pounds. And if a guy is like 5'6", 150 pounds puts his hand on my elbow, I'm not going to feel threatened.
Yeah, exactly. Just pat him on the head and walk away. You know what I mean?
I was like, dude, what are you doing? All right, see you. I mean, even if I'm heated, I mean, and not to mention, I don't get heated that easily. So that to me, that's just, he just got heated over nothing. And I think everybody's like, I saw him say it 6 times. Don't talk to me. Don't touch me. I'm like, how? His mask was on. How did you know what he was saying? He didn't pull his mask down, I think, until he wanted to yell at Chris. And he's the one he grabbed Chris. And I'm like, actually, the way he grabbed Chris was actually more threatening than the way Chris grabbed him by a mile.
It's a clown show. So hopefully they're past that. I mean, he's out for 5 games, and they'll be past that. Hopefully we can forget about that. But it's a clown show, Corey. And it's good that it's happening to another, the school that we don't like.
I'd be embarrassed if Chris Holtmann did that. I really would. I'm not even joking. Because I mean, look, we all have questions as Holtmann as a coach sometimes. I think he's a good coach, not great coach until he gets out of his first round, or first weekend, I should say. But that being said, that's neither here. That's a discussion for another time. But no matter what, I've never found Chris Holtmann embarrassing as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, man, we didn't even know if we had a show today. We ended up going 25 minutes. So, appreciate you as always, Shane. Let them know where to find you, man.
Hey, yeah, go follow me on Twitter at the Game Time Guru. My handle's right here. Go check it out. I'm always, chatting it up. A lot of you'll see a lot of content from me. It's different. I got Buckeye Talk on there, but I also run a couple media networks, including my own show. So if you guys ever want to follow the Game Time Guru podcast, I interview sports figures every single week. So come subscribe to the podcast and listen in. I've been doing it for 5 years, and I thoroughly enjoy it. But just follow me on Twitter if anything else, because that's where I'll be at, chatting with all you guys.
Absolutely. And guys, do us a favor, help the channel out, like the video, comment what you, hey, tell us we're idiots. I don't care. Just throw in a comment out there. I mean, you might be watching this going, these idiots. I don't know.
They'll be calling us clowns. We're the clowns.
Yeah. Go ahead. You're the clowns. Go blue. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. So anyway, appreciate you guys. Subscribe if you like what you see. As always, appreciate all the love and support we've been getting this whole time we've been on the channel. Thank you, Chat Sports, for all the help you guys give us. As always, guys, goodbye, God bless, and go Bucks.